Sarah, and I'm going to show you how I use the Mapping Your Situation tool in writing situations. It's a great way to think through an assignment and sketch out what I want to do before I even start drafting. I'll use an argument assignment I'm working on as an example. I start at the bottom, asking about my purpose. What am I arguing? Why am I arguing? For this assignment, I'm going to argue that electronics should be required to have a list of materials available to consumers, just the same way that prepared foods have to have a list of ingredients. So I type that in my notes as my topic. I think that if people knew what their electronics were made out of, they would be more responsible with how they dispose of their old electronics, just like the way people are more careful about what they eat because of ingredients lists. So I type this up as my purpose. Next, I ask myself who my audience will be. Our teacher tells us to think about who else, besides her, I'd want to read my writing. I would want my classmates and friends to read my argument, so they might think about what their electronics are made of and what happens when they recycle them. So in my notes, I type up these 3 different audiences. Then I think about the medium and method I'd use, since our teacher is letting us pick our medium for this assignment. I think my audience might pay more attention to my argument if I made the argument in a video instead of in a school paper. Then I think about the context, about where people might see it. Will I email it to the class or post it online? So in my notes, I type up that I'll use video for my medium, and I'll use the class YouTube channel for posting. After that, I start to look at who else has said things about e-waste and materials lists. When I research who else has commented on these issues, I type up not only what they've said, but I also note where I agree or disagree. That way, I won't just repeat what someone else has already said without contributing something new. I also think about what relationships others have had with the situation. For example, if I want to quote someone who has written a lot about e-waste, I need to see who that person is, and if he's part of a conservation organization, a private company, a government agency, and I think about what my relationship is to the situation and others involved in it. So I take notes on my source's credibility and biases. Then I ask how the situation is networked. Is my argument tied to policies, books, articles that others have already written? Have any recent events changed how others view my topic? And I ask if any of these connections might affect how my argument might be understood within the situation. All of these questions help me think about where my argument fits in with those already out there. Last, I follow the map back to the beginning and run through the questions again, since chances are my first answers will have changed, either a little or a lot, by the time I take into account all my other answers. Now, when I sit down to write, I won't have to face a blank screen, and I can use my notes to guide my drafting and revising.